All right, so you got yourself a significant other that loves to work with his hands, be in the garage, building stuff, especially car guys, let's say, and it's time to buy them a gift for the holidays, and you're not sure what to get them. That's what this video is about. We're going to start with, you know, items under $5, go all the way to $500, and depending on your budget, their skill level, we can kind of figure out what's the best gift for them. Starting right into it, stocking stuffer. For a few bucks, it may seem really obvious, black Sharpies is a really good one. But if you want to take it up a level, believe it or not, silver Sharpies. A little bit harder to find at the standard hardware store, but most of the stuff that we have to write on is black, so this won't show up as good as silver. Another level for you, if they work with metal, cut metal, especially welding metal, blue. For whatever reason, the blue ink doesn't get affected by the light oils as much, so blue is great for scribing or writing on metal. Great stocking stuffers, pick up a few of each. Let's move on. Up next is one that most guys don't even know how convenient it is. A tiny measuring tape. Seems silly, but once you get these, they're a few bucks, $2 to $3 normally, and they're great to carry around at the swap meet to the hardware store instead of carrying that big old bulky 25-footer. So get yourself one of these, throw it in the stocking. Now, a good gift is often those that they wouldn't buy for themselves, but you do. And I'm guilty of this because I would have never bought these for myself, but once I did get them as a gift, they come in handy. These are just pretty much cable organizers. They come in different size packs, usually anywhere from $5 to $20 roughly, but they're great for just keeping any type of cord nice and organized, whether it's on a tool, whether it's an extension cord, especially if you're going to use these on the go, need to grab it and head somewhere. These come in extremely handy. Now, the next one is just as much for them as it is for you, trust me. And that is a good automotive hand cleaner. Something we probably won't spend our own money on, but these things last a really long time. They're kind of formulated to have little beads in order to kind of cut through the grime and the grease. But what it really does is instead of me having really greasy hands, having to open the door, go inside and make a mess inside, grab a few pumps of this, rub it through and go outside to the water hose or a water bucket, whatever they have, and clean your hands before going inside. These things are also around 15 or 20 bucks. Let's move on to the last low-priced item. All right, so the next one, bear with me a little bit because they probably already have one. Really, because these things are really marketed to you in social media. But I want to give you kind of some do's and don'ts about headlamps, especially if you're going to buy them one. The first thing I'm going to tell you is, if you're going to buy them a headlamp, this is cool. It's going to give you good distribution of light. This is not. If you're going to buy them a headlamp, make sure there's nothing in the back of the head, because when you're working on the bottom of a car, you can't rest your head, and trust me, it's a pain in the butt. The other thing you're going to want to go for if you're going to buy something rechargeable is what's the actual expected battery life. You don't want to charge these every single time you use it. Now, to be honest with you, the best type of headlamp is the simple one with the built-in AAA batteries. They actually last a few months. They're really simple, they're really light, you don't have anything heavy on the sides of your head, especially not the back of your head. And they're usually cheaper and just as bright. So, a headlamp is great. Go with the simple one, replace the batteries, just make sure nothing's in the back of the head. So this next one is one of my favorites because not only do you get to buy them the best of the best, but it's also a pretty affordable price. Let's talk about safety glasses. Most guys have the cheap $2 to $5 safety glasses that are not comfortable, they fog up, and we really only wear them when we absolutely have to. If you want to give them a great gift, check out Heatwave. Heatwave has a great set of safety glasses, like this one that's dedicated to the shop. But what's really great about them is that it's the same exact frame and lens as their streetwear glasses. So if you have a significant other that likes going to the desert or is constantly wrenching at the track and whatnot, but they don't want to ruin their nice other set of glasses, get them a set of Heatwaves, and these are actually removable. So once they're done working, they can take off the side shields and have more of a streetwear glass. So you kind of get a cool 2-for-1 and you give them a good pair of glasses that they won't be ashamed of not only wearing, but also maybe scratching up a little bit. So With that being said, heat waves, they normally run anywhere about 55 to 85 bucks, depending on how much you customize them. But I guarantee you it's going to be a great gift for anybody interested in motorsports. So the next one is more about convenience and continuing the flow when they're working. These are pretty much an air tool or an electric tool, but in reality, we use these for sanding, for cutting, for wire wheels, for multiple reasons. And if you only have one, what's a pain in the butt is I go cut something, I got to change out this to a sander. It takes up a lot of time. So, whichever one they use more, whether it's an air tool or an electric tool, go in the garage, see if you can find a description anywhere, and just buy them the same exact thing. This way, they can have one for sanding, have one for cutting, and it makes it a lot easier when they're working on a project and saves them a bunch of time. These go anywhere from 25 bucks, 30 bucks, and the higher brands can go up to 150 bucks. It really depends on their sets of tools. So I can't really give you a good price range, but I can guarantee you that if they have an extra one, they'll definitely use it, and it's going to make their life a lot easier when working on whatever they're working on in the garage. All right, so the next one will also give you a little bit of a different range depending on how many you buy for your special person. And that's some type of toolbox or socket organizer. So you can tell I have all my sockets here kind of organized, not just by size, but it makes it really handy because nothing really moves around. If I'm working on a specific project where I know I'm just going to use this, I'll just grab this and the appropriate ratchet, but it makes life a lot easier. There's also a company called Tool Widget that does them for like screwdrivers and pliers and whatnot. But pretty much if you just search toolbox organizers, it'd be a good kind of long range of product and prices for you to check out what is good for them. One thing I'll mention is try to stick to things that are made out of kind of metal, especially if they're holding sockets. The plastic ones will wear out pretty easily. So kind of just keep that in mind as you're looking at prices. That's probably why one of these could cost you 15 bucks when the plastic one maybe costs you $3. So that gives you a nice wide range of budget and also options. Check out their toolbox. See what drawer's messy and see if you can make it more organized for them. So this next one is my number one recommendation for anybody that works in a garage, and that is a vise. Now, when you buy a vise or looking for vices, they come, you'll see a 3-inch, a 4-inch, a 5-inch, a 6-inch vise, all the way up to like 24 inches. Now, a good vise for general use is anywhere from like 4 to 7 inches, and those are going to run you anywhere from about 50 to 80 bucks. And they're a lot more handy than just for holding on to things. It's one of those tools that you don't realize how much you use until you have one. You buy a vise and you have a few extra bucks. These are called jaw pads, and they come in different not only sizes depending on your vise, but also different textures. Some are to hold tubes. They're magnetic, and now I can hold things without hurting them with the metal jaws. It's a really cool tool for anybody that likes to work with their hands in the garage. The last item to round out kind of that mid-level price range is kind of just a power station. These power stations run you anywhere from 50 to 80 bucks. Not only do they have a bunch of plugs, cell phone holder with a charger, lights is the key thing here. I didn't want to mount any lights up here that got in the way of all this. This keeps me properly lit when I'm working on stuff and keeps me way more organized. So now that we covered the low range, the mid range, let's move on to the high range things that I recommend. All right, so now that we got a few more bucks to spend, the first thing on the list is a drill press. Now, this is kind of a medium-sized one. They also have tabletop drill presses, usually about 10 to 12 inch. That's what they're labeled as, and those are great as well. Those run anywhere from 120 bucks to about 200 bucks. These run about 400 bucks, and they go up from there. Drill presses are great not only for drilling things, cutting things. They have so many different uses. It kind of lets your significant other take their fabrication skills or their garage skills up another level. Now that we covered that, let's go on to air compressors. Now, this is a little bit of a specialty one. This is really more if your significant other already has an air compressor. What you're buying with an air compressor is really just the capacity. The small ones are about 3 gallons. Most kind of garage guys will have a 15-gallon, somewhere around there. This is a 26-gallon, and they go up from there. Obviously, the more capacity, the more expensive. But where you're truly buying them is the recharge time. So with a 15-gallon compressor, you can maybe use an air tool for maybe 5 or 6 minutes. Then you got to wait for it to recharge. With a bigger air compressor, you don't have to wait as long, or if at all. So air compressors for a 26-gallon, which is a really good, comfortable size, are about 250 bucks to 300 bucks, and they go up from there. Again, this is more of a specialty one. If they already use a lot of air tools, a bigger air compressor might be a great surprise and a great gift for your significant other. Now, most people have a toolbox, but it'll only be the bottom section of a toolbox. So getting them the top section gives them more room for storage, but really will get them more organized. Now, when considering a top toolbox, there's really two things that you need to do. Make sure you buy them the same exact brand they already have, and make sure you measure the entire width of their toolbox to make sure you get the right one. For example, if I were to search Kobalt 41-inch top box, I'd likely get this box. Now, the top section of a toolbox can go anywhere from 200 bucks to 500 bucks and get more expensive from there, depending on their brand and the size. But getting them a top box is a really cool addition they're probably not expecting this holiday season. Most of us already have fridges in the garage, but if you don't, it'd be a great addition to your garage. What I really want to tell you is a good Bluetooth speaker. I'm not talking about a portable speaker. I'm talking about something that's good, that plugs into the wall, so it has the appropriate amperage and the appropriate sound that most guys want. A good speaker goes anywhere from 200 bucks to really 500-600 bucks. Marshall's a great brand to look into, but trust me, there's nothing more that we want than to wrench with our favorite tunes, getting in a good flow as we're working in the garage. Now, let's go into that last item. Anybody that works on cars or works in a garage will tell you that they've always wanted to learn how to weld. We've just never been given the tool or the resources to do it. You can be that person for your significant other. Now, buying welders does not need to be that complicated. Really, all that you need is something that plugs into the wall, so 110 volts, something that can do about 120 to 140 amps, which is kind of standard. And the last third tip I have for you is something that has knobs. Cheaper welders will normally just have switches and they'll just be like a high and a low. Knobs really let you dial in the amperage. With those three things, 110 volts, kind of 120 amps being the minimum, and something that has knobs, you're going to find yourself in a price range of $250 to about $600. Now, there is some other stuff you're going to need to buy with gas and all that stuff, but leave that to your significant other. You already gave them the main tool they need to kind of elevate their garage skills. With all the stuff that we've seen in this video, from welders to grinders to drill presses, a few of these things will really let your significant other grow their skills and continue pushing themselves to build cooler and better things. I hope this video was a huge help to you. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments. I'm sincerely here to help. Have a great holiday season. We'll see you guys in the next video.